Dakota Johnson shared, "When I accepted Sam Huan's love, I had to argue a lot with my mother." The lights were bright in the studio of the show Hollywood Tonight. The famous host, Olivia Hart, sat across from Dakota Johnson, the star who has gone from 50 Shades of Grey to a series of blockbusters. Dakota appeared in a turquoise satin dress, her face lightly made up but radiant. Fans filled the room, waiting anxiously. Everyone knew that this interview would mention her stormy love affair with Sam Huan. Olivia opened, "Dakota, the whole world is curious about you and Sam. But I heard that, before you got together with him, you had to face a huge argument in your family, especially with your mother, the actress Melanie Griffith. Is that true?" The atmosphere was silent for a few seconds. Dakota smiled, but her eyes were a bit sad. She nodded. "That's right. When I said yes to Sam, my mother was very against it. We argued a lot. There were times when we thought we couldn't talk to each other anymore." The audience erupted. The host leaned back in his chair, his eyes wide. "Why? Sam is a great guy. Everyone thinks so. Why did your mother object?" Dakota took a deep breath, as if she were going back to that stormy time. 2. The early days. Dakota recalled that she and Sam first met at a charity dinner in Los Angeles in 2023. At that time, they were both invited to speak. Sam was a Scottish TV star, famous for Outlander. Dakota was the daughter of two Hollywood legends, Melanie Griffith and Don Johnson. "We just started talking because we happened to be standing next to each other in the wine line," Dakota smiled. "He asked me if I drank scotch. And we talked all night. After the party, they kept in touch." The initial messages were about movies, art, and everyday stories. But soon, things became special. Dakota confessed, "I was moved by Sam's sincerity and humor. He made me laugh even when I was at my lowest. But when I told my mother, things weren't as I thought." Point 3. Melanie Griffith's backlash. Melanie Griffith, a veteran Hollywood actress, is known for protecting her daughter. When Dakota talked about Sam, her first reaction was a firm shake of her head. "You have to understand, Sam is a public figure. He has millions of crazy female fans. They would never leave you alone if you went public with him." Dakota argued, "Mom, I don't live to please people. Sam is really good. He's not like the other men I've met." But Melanie still didn't agree. She was afraid that her daughter would get hurt, that the relationship would be temporary, or worse, become the target of a vicious media. The two argued constantly. Once, Melanie even cried out in tears, "Dakota, you've been under so much pressure since you were born into this family. I don't want to see you cry over another famous man one day." Point 4. The biggest argument. Dakota said that the biggest argument happened right at the house in Malibu. That night, she returned late after a date with Sam. When she entered the living room, her mother was waiting with a stern look. Melanie asked directly, "Dakota, do you really love him? Or is it just a passing infatuation?" Dakota insisted. "I love him. I've never felt like this before. He makes me feel safe and free." Melanie stood up, her voice trembling. "You're putting your heart in the hands of a man you've only known for a few months. Do you know how big a risk that is?" Dakota shouted, something she rarely did to her mother, "Mom, I'm 34 years old. I'm not a child for you to decide for me anymore. This is my love. I'm going to pursue it, whether you agree or not." At that moment, mother and daughter stood facing each other in silence. Tears rolled down Melanie's face. She didn't say anything more, just quietly went into the room. Dakota sat back, his heart heavy. 5. Sam walks in. Knowing what happened, Sam tries to approach Melanie. He comes to her house with a bouquet of white tulips, her favorite flower. Sam says bluntly, "I know you're worried, but I promise, I'm not here to hurt Dakota. I love her truly, and I'm willing to prove it with my life." Melanie is speechless. She looks into Sam's eyes, bright blue, determined. In that moment, she realizes that he's not like the men she used to fear. But her motherly love still makes her hesitate. After the meeting, she tells Dakota, "I'm still not completely satisfied. But I see that he's different. If you really trust him, I'll respect your choice." Dakota hugs her mother in tears. The tense fight has finally calmed down. Past repeats. Dakota burst into tears as she recalled. She said that the reason her mother objected so strongly was because Melanie herself had suffered many injuries in love. She had gone through stormy marriages, was surrounded by the press, was betrayed, and was deeply hurt. Dakota said, "My mother doesn't hate Sam. She's just afraid that I'll follow in her footsteps. But I want her to know that Sam is not like the men in the past. He makes me feel safe." Point 7. The world is shocked. The whole room fell silent when Dakota shared. Host Olivia also choked up. "I think your story is not just about love, but also about maternal love, protection, and the courage to fight for your happiness." Immediately after the broadcast, global media reported, Dakota Johnson reveals her mother once strongly opposed her love for Sam Huan. Shocking truth. Dakota and her mother argued fiercely over Sam. What was Melanie Griffith afraid of when her daughter dated Sam Huan? Fans were both surprised and moved. They understood that behind a beautiful love, there are always sacrifices and silent struggles. 8. Sam and Melanie, from confrontation to understanding. A year later, Melanie Griffith appeared with Sam and Dakota at a film event in Los Angeles. When asked by reporters, she smiled. "Sam has proven that his love for Dakota is real. And I am happy to see my daughter happy." The moment the three stood next to each other, holding hands, became a symbol of reconciliation and love. 9. Dakota ends the interview. Back to the present. In the interview, Dakota smiled through tears. "Sometimes, to love someone, you not only have to bravely face public opinion, but also have to overcome barriers within the family. But I have no regrets. Because after all, I have Sam, and my mother's acceptance." The whole studio applauded loudly. Dakota's eyes sparkled, as if she had just lifted a heavy burden from her heart.